Hi there. Thanks for joining. We're with Checkpoint Software here today with Armis, and we'll be doing a demonstration on Checkpoint's new IoT Protect Blade. This allows us to integrate with many third-party discovery engines. Today we'll be covering the Armis integration, which will allow you to get complete visibility on your IoT landscape, whether that's in the OT environment, healthcare, or enterprise. So let's go. We protect many different businesses, many different ways. We'll be getting into the actual demonstration on how this is achieved and how you can easily integrate this with your existing solutions today. But generally speaking, we find ourselves most active in enterprise, hospitals, and industrial environments. That could be anything from energy to energy distribution, nuclear, research, et cetera. So these are typically very critical environments. And the value or the risk level in these situations is very, very, very high. So compliance is also a part of this, and we'll show you some of that in the reporting tool set that we will show you and go over today. But very quickly, the idea here is that we have a piece of visibility on the network segments. This can be achieved very easily with network taps, span port, or also referred to as a mirror port. And the value here is that it's going to automatically identify and classify all of those devices that are quickly becoming a part of your network every day. And it does that automatically for you. It can actually also give you a very concise risk profile of those devices based on our threat and risk intelligence information. So we can actually give you a bit of a risk profile that, this infusion pump, for instance, is vulnerable to an exploit that could put that patient at risk, kind of a risky scenario. So very high level, these are the components that we'll be covering today. Thanks to our great friends at Armis. And what we have set up is essentially security management server that you know and love from Checkpoint, as well as a security gateway on the network itself, giving visibility to those segments. And the crucial part here is off to the right, the IoT Discovery Engine. And this is the device that is responsible for collecting and interpreting traffic, being able to see all of the communication patterns within the network as well, to ensure that there is no unauthorized or unintended types of access or control into that system. So you can see we have a lot of different devices down here, and it's a very dynamic environment. So typical static policies just won't do it. What you need in an environment like this is a dynamic application of policy that is applied based on device type and risk profile. And we'll be covering that very shortly here. So this is, again, a very high-level example. Obviously, beneath this report, we have packet captures and a bunch of detailed risk information that can be fed to your threat hunting or incident response team. But the best scenario is we'll actually prevent this before it hits the device. And so with this discovery engine, as well as enforcement, all of those risk indicators like weak passwords, outdated firmware, and vulnerabilities will be covered off for you, and you'll essentially see that from a reporting perspective. All of those issues are taken away from your networking system. So now I'd like to introduce Mr. Nick Bosse from Armis, who's been kind enough to join us here. And he's going to show us a little bit about the Armis device security platform. And then he'll also help us cover the integration with Checkpoint platform and how that would actually function in a live environment. And also just want to let you know that this is available to evaluate. If you want to see what this looks like in your environment, there's no better way than trying it for yourself. Nick, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Thanks for the invite for this video conference. I really appreciate it. So my name is Nick Boisse. I have about 20 years of experience in the security field. So since 1998, working with Checkpoint product and security. So I've been working for Checkpoint for about 6 years. So what is Armis? Here in this slide, you'll see the 3 Armis pillars. So what Armis does is discover assets, identify risk, and do automate response. So when we say a discover asset, we work with, like Steve mentioned, on a span port, we listen to the traffic, we will identify all devices that has an IP address on your network. So IT devices, IoT devices, industrial devices, medical devices, all kind of devices, we will identify those. Agentless, though we don't need any agent deployed on the devices itself. It's all in passive mode. So once we have identified and categorize those assets, we will do a risk analysis. So again, using the span port, we will see the traffic, we will analyze all behavior around those devices, but also what are the application installed on those devices. So we can give you a risk analysis based on CVE and also based on behavior analysis of those devices. We have a huge database of devices in the cloud. 280 million devices are already there. So we know a lot of stuff about IoT device. We know what are the behavior of those. So when something bad happen or something different, we will notify you and alert you. And the third pillar, automate enforcement. So this is where we integrate with Checkpoint to have a dynamic policy and to keep track of what's going on in your network. So have a real policy of your devices. So again, all in passive mode in real time. Next slide, please. Steve, thanks. So how does it work? So this is high-level architecture. So as you can see in the middle of the screen, we have an Armis virtual machine. Ways to integrate. So if you have wireless LAN controller, as an example, Cisco Meraki has a cloud integration. So we don't have to deploy anything on-prem for that. We just do it for cloud to cloud. Armis is a SaaS platform that runs in AWS, so you don't have to deploy anything in that scenario. Depending on the network architecture, sometimes we need to have a span connected to the switch to analyze traffic. So this is another option that we have. If you look at the bottom of the diagram, we will see everything that is bring your own devices, manage devices, cloud and virtual assets, unmanaged IoT assets, and off-network devices. So what is off-network devices? When we connect to wireless LAN controller, we will see all devices that are connected to that access point, but we also see what is in the airspace around the building. So we will identify, is there any Wi-Fi pineapple, or is there any Raspberry Pi trying to hack into your network and broadcast bad SSID and stuff like that. We will identify that and notify you in the console. So that's how Armis works. Now it's the time to show you the demo. So we'll have to switch on my computer. So do I have to pause before the recording, or how do you want to proceed in that part? Yeah, okay, perfect. So let's switch to my screen. So here my Armis tenant in AWS. So this is my demo tenant. Okay, so the first thing you will see once you log into the Armis console, you will get into the dashboard, and you will have a high-level view of what's going on in your network. So how many devices, how many new devices as connected? In that case, it's for the past 30 days. Is there any high-risk device in your network? Is there any threat activity where you want to take action? How many alerts do you have? So a quick look on high alert, medium alert, low security alert, and a couple of dashlets are available. All of those dashlets are fully customizable based on query. So we have a powerful tool. I don't think I have enough time today to show you that, but we have a nice tool to show you to create query inside of the data that we have in Armis to give you the right view you like to see. So a couple of examples here. The Discover view will give you all cloud assets like CrowdStrike, SCCM, vCenter, Azure, AWS. So all those, how many devices are connected to each one of those application. Device inventory, you'll get a full list. Again, this is all customized dashlets that you can create it. Okay. One good example I like to show in that one is the operating system. So this is a quick example of what you can get with Armis. So quick view on what are the operating system used in your network, how many Android, Windows, iOS, but also what are the application used by those devices. So in that example, we're showing browsers, Chrome, Safari, Firefox. So you'll get a quick view on what device using what application. Again, services, a list of services, a list of application. So this brings me to the first pillar of Armis, the inventory. So let me show you that. So I'll go to my corporate boundaries. We'll look for computer, and I will take on our old MacBook. So the way it works, we start with the MAC address. And with the MAC address, we'll get the IP address. And also we can know, okay, based on that MAC, we know this is an Apple MacBook. So we get the manufacturer, we get the model. With that, we can categorize. So we know, okay, this is a computer type laptop. And also we know that Harold, this is the user connected to that device. With the span information, we'll get information about OS. So this is Mac OS X version 10.12.2. The first time we've seen the device, the last time we've seen the device, and where we've seen the device. So typical scenario, customer will have multiple sites deployed. So we'll be able to tell you, okay, you have 100 Windows machine on that building, but you have 50 Linux on this other one, other sites. So we'll identify the location of every one of the device. So once we have identified and categorized the device, we'll do a deeper analysis on it. So with the span, we can tell you, okay, this device, so in that case, it's a Harold Lee MacBook. We know that this device is using seven application. So we have the list of application. We also have the version of those application. Okay. So that said, with that information in place, so we have the OS version, we have the application with their version. Well, you know what? We got the all CVE associated to those version. Okay. The CVE is based on the NIST, so you can have a quick look, have information about the vulnerability itself, how to fix it and everything. But also we do a risk scoring of every single CVE in the list. So we give you information about what is the exploitability level, what is the impact on the network. So each one of those CVE will get a score. Okay, in that case, there is 724 vulnerabilities. So each one of them has a score. But also we take a look on the behavior of the device to see how it acting over the network. And again, we have another scoring mechanism here to give you information about this device. And at the end, the overall will give you the overall score of the device. So based on CVEs, based on behavior analysis, here's the risk factor of Harold Lee's MacBook. So in that case, Harold Lee has a 7 as a score. So this is the first pillar, inventory. How does it look? How do we categorize computers? There's many more information I would like to show you. Don't have enough time today. So I will jump straight into the checkpoint integration. So how does it work? Let me show you. The way it works, you create the integration, pretty simple. You put a name, shared secret, and that's it, job done. The rest of the operation is done through the smart dashboard. So let me show you the dashboard. Here we go. This is the smart console, checkpoint smart console. So the first step will be to create the IoT controller object. So you click new, add IoT controller. So if I show you here, you'll see that this is my test tenant I'm using, port 443, and the shared secret key I just the dashboard. So once you have that in place, you can say yes. Once you have that in place, you will right out of the box, you will get access to all objects that are available into that controller. So if I give you an example here, import, I'll show you that. So those are all the objects discovered by Armis. So as you can see, you have the name of the object, what is the type, the IP address, what is the function. So is it a watch, a tablet, mobile phone, appliance? Those objects, for your information, came from my home lab. So you will see a lot of home devices there, but you can correlate to the enterprise. You will see with different types of object appearing into that stream. So things like manufacturer, model, risk level, you know, I want to see only high risk device. Bang, I have the list of high risk device, so I can create a policy based on those. If I want to see another example, medium risk device, all medium risk device identified by Armis, another example, okay? So this is the raw data, okay, from Armis. So we got all single devices available there with their IP addresses. But the thing is, you also have the tags available for the rules. So this is where I want to show you the power of Armis / checkpoint together. So you can create a rule base based on those function, or based on the manufacturer, or based on the model. You don't have to hard code IP address anymore, okay? You just use those tags. So let me show you a couple of examples from my lab. This guy here. So this is my IoT discovery policy I've just created in my lab. So live traffic flowing through those rules. So I have around 10 rules available in my lab. So things like mobile phone, as you can see here, the source function, I'm using mobile phone. So Nest communication, all my Nest devices, media player, all my media players. So let me dig in a couple of rules there. So to show you the first one, mobile phones. So if I click the inline layer, you will see a couple of other rules that are associated to mobile phones. So in my rule number 10, which is mobile phones in general, I've created two subset of rules, one for iPhone and one for other phones, okay? So allowing traffic for iPhone, this is the list. This is the list for mobile phone. And also what I'm doing here, I have another inline layer, leveraging the checkpoint application control blades to add a little bit more security around phones, because behind the phone, there's a user. It's not like a standard IoT devices. There is a user behind those mobile devices. So I like to create more security around those. So dropping stuff like critical risk, botnet, high risk site, hacking, spyware. So create a policy to put a little bit more security on for my mobile phones. So if I go to the next rule, Nest communication, quick example here, simple rule. Those are the protocol required by my Nest device. And I have the cleanup rule here. So why am I using inline layer for those security rules? The reason is simple. It's the cleanup rule here. I can have a cleanup per function or per manufacturer, and then do a quick map of the communication flowing through those policies. So it's easy to see, okay, for my Nest lab, I have some drops. So I know that, okay, I need the port 8443 to be turned on. So this is a quick tool to help you build the security policy easily. Other example, media player, another example here. So the rule for my Apple TV, the rule for my Google Home, those are the critical need, drop the rest. My Roomba rules, Philips Lightning system, Google device, game console. So a couple of examples, I think you got the idea. Correlate that to your enterprise network, and you will put things like Windows servers, Linux servers, SQL servers, and stuff like that, or HMI, industrial IoTs. So you can fine tune based on what you have, okay? So this is from my lab. This is what I have on my network. This is the reason why I'm showing you those objects, but correlate that on what you have on your side. So this is one thing, the rule creation. There's another useful advantage using checkpoint / Armis together is the threat prevention policy. So quick show on that is, you know, with checkpoint, we have a list of IPS protection, and those IPS protection, we have a full list of CVEs available, okay? So Armis will identify the CVEs, affected CVEs to what you have on your network, and Checkpoint has a full list of CVEs. There's around 11,000 IPS protection available in Checkpoint. So we can do the correlation there and create a rule base based on what you have. So basically, a couple of examples here, I create 3 different policy for my IPS. So instead of turning on like the 11,000 IPS signature, I scroll down the scope to have based on what I have. So create a filter for my mobile phone. So I use the CVEs for my phones, CVEs for game consoles, CVEs for media players. So 3 different rules, lower down the scope, and this will live CPU cycle. I will free up some CPU cycle on the firewall, so better performance and better IPS policy, more effective based on what I have. So that was a quick tour on the integration, on how it works on Checkpoint. So thank you very much for looking the video. If you need more information, please feel free. You can reach out to me, Nick Boisse, or Steve Skoronski, and it will be our pleasure to assist you if you want to see more what we can do with the technology. Thank you very much, guys.